In the winter of 1923, a young animator stepped off a train in Los Angeles with more debt than dollars, but with something far more dangerous: conviction. He had already tasted failure in Kansas City, watched a studio collapse, and felt the quiet humiliation of being told, politely, that his dreams were too big. By the time Mickey Mouse appeared in his sketchbook, Walt Disney was not a genius in a castle. He was a man on the edge of exhaustion, in a rented room that smelled of ink and dust. History tells this story in clean timelines and cheerful montages, but the psychology beneath it is brutal: uncertainty, chronic stress, and a mind bargaining with itself every night. Neuroscientists now know that long-term creative risk behaves like a slow-burning threat, raising cortisol, distorting sleep, and yet sharpening focus on the one idea that refuses to die. In another version of our world, that same idea, a small mouse with gloved hands, doesn't wait for a studio executive's permission. It goes directly to the crowd. Not through chance meetings, not through borrowed offices, but through a single, living interface on a glowing screen. A website engineered to turn curiosity into commitment. This film is not a fantasy about time travel. It is a forensic thought experiment about one question: what happens when a dreamer like Walt meets the digital tools you and I take for granted? To understand this alternate path, we strip away the romance and start with structure. Every dream needs a bridge between imagination and money. In the 1920 seconds, that bridge was made of letters, contracts, and the fragile moods of a few gatekeepers in wool suits. Today, it is often a single URL. Platforms like b12.io compress an entire marketing department into a guided process. A few questions answered, a design suggested, copy refined by machine intelligence trained on what converts. Imagine a Walt, born in our time. Same temperament, same obsessions, sitting in a cramped apartment with a cheap laptop, searching, how do I fund my cartoon idea? Instead of a dead end, he finds a tool that promises, you focus on the story. We'll build the stage, the ticket booth, and the spotlight for the crowd. Psychologically, this changes everything. The locus of control shifts slightly back toward the creator, shrinking learned helplessness and activating what scientists call agency belief. In our experiment, Walt uploads sketches of a round-eared mouse, writes a trembling first draft about a new kind of character the whole family can love, and clicks publish on his B12-powered site. At that moment, the story escapes the room. For the first time, it is not one man's private obsession, but a question posed to the entire connected world. Will you help bring him to life? Crowdfunding is not magic. It is applied social psychology at scale, a choreography of attention, emotion, and trust. Campaigns succeed when they answer three silent questions in the viewer's mind. Do I understand this? Do I care? Do I believe others will care too? As our simulated Walt's website goes live, analytics begin to whisper a story in numbers. Bounce rates dropping, time on page climbing, small green dots of pledges blinking awake across a world map. Each visitor is a life with its own weight. A tired nurse scrolling between shifts, a design student hungry for inspiration, a father looking for something wholesome to share with his kids. B12's templates quietly do their work: clear hierarchy, warm colors, a single call to action guiding the eye, lowering cognitive load, reducing the mental friction that kills fragile impulses to give. Neuroscientific studies show that when we watch a creator speak vulnerably about their struggle, our brains mirror their emotion. Oxytocin rises, making generosity feel not like loss, but alignment. On the site's hero video, Walt looks into the lens and admits, I'm scared this will fail, but I believe this little guy could make people smile when they need it most. The line is simple, almost clumsy, and precisely for that reason, thousands of strangers lean closer to their screens, feeling for a moment that they are not just consumers, but participants. As the campaign gathers momentum, another, quieter force begins to operate: social proof. The human instinct to look sideways before we leap. Each new backer sees not only Walt's promise, but a rolling count of others who have already believed. A subtle nudge that says, people like you are already here. B12's integration with email lists and social sharing tools amplifies this effect, turning early supporters into signal boosters, their posts functioning as micro-testimonials of trust. Behavioral economists call this the bandwagon effect, but on the screen it looks simpler. A friend's name, a short caption, "This looks beautiful. I want this to exist," and a link. Inside Walt's mind, the graph of pledges is not just data. It is a volatile cocktail of dopamine spikes and crashes. Each new notification a tiny verdict on his worth. At night, alone with the dashboard glow, he fights two competing stories. This could change my life, and, if it slows down, it proves I was never good enough. The suspense, for him, is not cinematic. It is physiological, heart rate elevated, attention narrowed, appetite fading as his nervous system rides a loop of anticipatory reward. And yet, every time a new name appears on the backer list, he whispers it out loud, anchoring himself to a simple, grounding fact. Somewhere out there, a real person just chose to believe. As numbers climb beyond what any lone animator could finance, the campaign's real power reveals itself. Not just money, but leverage. In the traditional timeline, Walt walked into studios as a supplicant. In this counterfactual one, he enters potential meetings with a dashboard of pre-sold audiences behind him. Executives, rational yet risk-averse, quietly recalculate. Behavioral models show that when uncertainty shrinks, bold ideas suddenly look obvious in hindsight. The B12-built site becomes more than a storefront. It is a live portfolio of proof demographics, engagement, heat maps, retention curves, evidence that this mouse already lives in people's heads. In one pivotal scene we imagine, a skeptical investor scrolls through the site on a tablet, pausing at a montage of fan messages, children's drawings, handwritten notes, short videos of laughter. For all his spreadsheets, it is this sensory avalanche the faces, the voices that tilts his decision, activating the primitive circuitry that responds not to charts, but to human connection. He looks up and says a single, quietly altered line from our real history. "We're interested, but this time, we want to partner, not own." The suspense shifts from, "Will he get anything?" to a finer, more modern tension. How do you scale a dream without selling its soul? In the end, this story is not about a mouse, a park, or even a man named Walt. It is about the fragile moment when a private dream steps into public light, and the quiet tools that make that crossing possible. What if the only thing separating your idea from our shared reality is the decision to let one simple web page carry your story to the world? If this journey into an alternate Walt made you see your own potential a little differently, stay with this channel, share this film, subscribe, and help us keep asking the hard, human questions behind every dream that dares to go online.